Hello, this is Sunil with Top Preps. Today, I'm happy to be speaking with Anthony Arkey, an uncommitted baseball player looking for a four-year college and currently playing baseball at Lorrain County Community College. Anthony, thank you so much again for taking some time out to speak with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys interviewing me.
Okay, Anthony. I said, your background is very impressive, especially with you playing baseball again at Lorraine County Community College. A very, diverse. I said in terms of your position: shortstop, third base, pitcher, utility player. Can you talk about just playing on this team and be able to contribute? I said in many facets here.
Yeah, for sure. So we just started our season about a week ago, like a week and a half ago. Because our first few games got rained out because of Ohio weather's unpredictable. So there's certain things, or snow can happen. So we finally got to go on the field. It was a nice day. It was about 70 degrees. Playing on turf. We have two locations for our home field. We play at Crusher Stadium, which is a Frontier League affiliate for MLB in Avon, Ohio. And then we also play at Sports Force Park, which, if you know where Cedar Point's at, it's right next to that in Sandusky. So I would say, so during the fall, I came in as a third baseman. That's where I played all my life. I didn't know anything else besides third pitch, and then, be useful anywhere else I could be, just to put my bat in the lineup. Because for me, that's what's important to me, is hitting, because I know I'm good at that. My fielding hasn't been great, but it's good enough to be in the lineup every day. So then my coach looked at me. He said, "Well, we need a shortstop. Do you think you can play there?" I'm like, "Man, I can give it a try." And then come around I'm our starting shortstop. I started my first two college games a week and a half ago, like I said, against Kent State club team. We played 2 7-inning games back to back. I started both. By the end of the second game, I was dead, because that was my first time playing a doubleheader like that in a while. So your body's gonna get used to it. But overall, like, I like this team. It's a team. I come from Avon Lake, which last year we went from having a 7-8 record 2 years previous before COVID with a older head coach to bringing in a new head coach. The COVID year got shut down, and the next year having my senior year, and then we went from being 7-8 to 22-5, making it playoffs. We got bounced out of the first round on a game of mistakes for baseball. That happens. We just ended up making an error when we shouldn't have, and it had a ground ball dice. No big deal. So we got knocked out. Kind of hurt, but we still won our conference, so we were proud of that. And as I told you on the messages, I may have not contributed physically as much because I was out pretty much the whole season with COVID. But I was there. That season taught me how to be a good teammate. I was there for my teammates every single day. When I was quarantined, we have a library where our field is at my old high school, where there's a library in the back of center field, and there's like a parking lot that I can overwatch the whole game with. Well, I would show up every game in my car and watch every single game. I couldn't see the guys, but I wanted to see my teammates succeed, because at the end of the day, I'm still part of the team. It's something I wanted to be able to support them. And I'm always proud to represent Avon Lake wherever I go, because that's where I'm from. So, which is just on the other side of Cleveland. So, but I like this team. It gives me similarities to that team, because there's a lot of different guys from all around Ohio on this team. Whether it be, south, east, west, north, whatever be the case, we got a lot of talent that could be great. And we got a lot of guys that I feel like if they worked hard, they could be right where they should be. And at the end of the day, like you said, it comes down to that grind. It comes down to that mindset. If we can get most of our guys on board rather than just our starting 9, that'd be awesome, because then we can make a push. Because at the end of the season, I told my coach when I was doing walkthroughs during the fall and everything, go walk through the school, I'm like, look, if you want to go to Tennessee in the spring, we need to have everybody have the same mindset as me, and that's, I want to win. Go 1-0 every game. Do this, do that. He's like, I like that. And so that's kind of what I want, because I want to go to Tennessee, me personally, because that'd be a cool experience. It gets our team name out there. It gets everybody else's names out there, So but I like this team. We got one of our starting pitcher. Do you care if I name drop real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it okay if I name drop?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so we have a starting pitcher named Cody Devos. His first game collegiate pitching was 13 strikeouts. Great pitcher. he works on his accuracy a lot, so that's one big thing that he needs to work on. But he has all the tools to be a great pitcher. He's 6'3", right-hander, perfect size for a starting pitcher. Like, I love Cody because I feel like I was telling my other teammate this the other day. I'm like, look, I feel like Cody, has the best ability to go Power 5 D1 if he really puts in the work in the weight room because he's skinnier. But I'm like, if he puts in work in the weight room, he's gonna jump because he's already throwing as fast as I am. Because he's a pitcher, he's throwing 86, 87. And he's not as big as I am. He's skinnier all around. I weigh 200 pounds. He's like 170, 160. So that's why I said if he puts in the work in the weight room, he's going to jump. But at the end of the day, I like this team. We're going to succeed. I know we're going to win games. It just comes down to the tough games and how we're going to be able to bounce back through everything. Because we just played Oberlin College and their JV team, and we lost by 3, but we were on a comeback. We never let ourselves get out of the game. And now that wasn't my best game. I'll admit that. I'll fully admit that. But I was still there for my teammates because, every athlete gets mad at some point during a game, right? I had a moment where my eyes opened up and I got really angry at myself. And then I sat there, I told myself, like, what am I doing? Corrected that. And the rest of the game, I just tried to help my teammates because even though I wasn't doing the best, I didn't really contribute. I helped my teammates try to contribute. I picked them up every time they got a hit or something like that because, like I said, at the end of the day, last season taught me how to be a good teammate, and I'm glad it did. I'm glad I got that experience.
Talk about the level of competition, Anthony, especially here at the junior college level, D3.
Okay, so when it comes to the JUCO level at D3, we face good competition. We have good competition. We face our school faces a lot of Division II junior colleges. One big one being Bryan and Strand, which they have 3 pitchers throwing right now. They're 90 plus. I've already faced one of them in the fall. He's pretty good. He's a projected draft pick next season. So that's why I said, there's going to be a lot of guys like that in Division II and Division I JUCOs that we might face, and we're gonna run across them. Like, some people are gonna be like, oh, and then others are gonna be like, all right, I want that challenge. I want to go after it because eventually, if I want to keep going, I need to face that, right? So the competition is good. It's unpredictable. That's why I like it better than D3 because when you go to D3, you know what you're getting. You go to JUCO, you can either from D1 prospects that went back to JUCO or MLB prospects that went back to JUCO, or you can have the other side of the spectrum where it's just not as good. So it gives you a wide variety of what you need to see because sometimes if you face somebody that's not that good, you can work on certain things in the game that you can fix then and treat it like, I don't want to say like practice because every game's like a game. It's still a game, but like more so you get to work on stuff during a game than you do if it was like more of a competitive game where it's more fast paced. You're just focused on doing stuff. So,
hey, talk about your head coach. I think it's Bill Froley and assistant coach Mark Stavoli. Just talk about what they've meant to you, here.
So, Coach Bill Froley, I like him. He's a really good coach. He's a really good person. He has a really good heart. I love him so much. I feel like he has a good mindset. He wants to win. He can see the potential in us. I can see that. And at the end of the day, like he's told us multiple times in practice, during practice, like, I just want to see you guys succeed. That's all I want. I want to help you guys. That's all he's there for. And, unfortunately, our assistant Stavoli, he's old. He's on the older side, but he was in the majors. He made it to AAA. He was a 6'1" thrower and fit in AAA. He just, he shrunk down because he got older, but he ended up being in the hospital a couple of weeks back. And we ended up getting surgery because he fell. So he hasn't been with us, but our I would say backup assistant was a former player for our coach. He got offered to go to Walsh after he played at LC, which is one of the best Division II schools in Ohio. And now he's helping us, which he's one of my teammates' brothers. And so his name is Mark Fleckbart. He's a really good assistant when he needs to be there for Stavoli when he needs to fill in because Mark knows a lot about the game. He knows a lot because he's a pitcher only, and he's taught me a lot about short. He's taught me little things to help me get advantages in the field because it's my first year playing short ever. And I'm picking it up on the fly. I'm being like a sponge. I'm trying to pick up things so I can make myself compete at the highest level. Because, like, I want to continue to play short, but if I have to go back to third for another college just to play, I don't mind that. But at the end of the day, throughout the fall and then throughout the beginning of the season for the first month and a half before we started playing games, I've been playing short so much that like I've grown into that role and I like it. But at the same time, I'm not opposed to going back to third. But yes, our coaches, I love them so much. They give us the tools we need to be successful, even though our head coach, has many other different jobs. He is there for us when he needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then he always expects us, JUCO is kind of the deal where it's like, put the work in yourself too, as much as you want to work when you're in practice.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I try to reiterate that to my teammates too. Like some of my teammates ask me, like, well, why did they ask us to work out on our own? Because they want to see what you can do on your own. Because you're an adult, you're a grown man. You shouldn't have to have somebody tell you what to do if you want to get after it, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I like that personality. And I feel like we'll be very, very successful under him, especially if all of us stay together for the next year or two. If I don't end up getting any offers and we stay together another year,
Mm-hmm.
we kind of molded already because this is a first-year team. And our team's all freshmen except for one guy. So, yeah.
Hey, talk, Anthony, just about game day. Is that preparation? Any special techniques or just what you go through in terms of before games. Even maybe practices as well.
So before practice, typically I'm either working or before practice, if I'm not working that day, I'll go work out. I'll go work out at we have practice at 5:00. I'll go to the gym at 2:30, have about a 2-hour workout, do bands at the end of it right before practice, get to practice. Everybody gets there by 4:45. We start stretching at 4:45. I lead the stretches. I lead the circle. I lead the line stretches. We get that done. We throw, and then we go right into IO. And that's pretty much it. And then when it comes to game day, we have a game. Normally we have games at 12 and 1 o'clock. So I'll wake up at 8:30, make myself some breakfast, get everything ready, head in my car. If it's a home game, mind you, get in my car and put all my stuff in there and get ready to go and be ready. And but if it's an away game, like say, there's some away games that we have to drive to, but not many. Some of the few that we don't have to drive to. We were supposed to go to hockey tomorrow. We were supposed to have a game tomorrow. We do still have a game tomorrow, but we're supposed to have an away game tomorrow. So we were supposed to have a charter bus because it's 3 hours away. So in that case, I'd be getting up by 5:30 in the morning, make myself breakfast, taking a shower, just at least rinsing down so I can wake up, and then get into the college by 7 so we can leave by 7:15, get there by 10, have our 2-hour preparation before the game and everything, and then go.
Yeah.
So,
hey, you made some great points in terms of okay.
Hold on. I'm gonna go outside real quick. What did you say now?
Sorry just you made some great points in terms of strength and conditioning, with flexibility and, I said with the bands work and, just in terms of also, I think, I don't know if you incorporate lifting as well. Can you talk about that aspect, because I think that's important,
No, for sure.
Yeah.
So I lift every single day of the week. I do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way through Saturday. Sunday is my rest day. Okay. Typically Saturdays we have games, so I'll lift after our game just to kind of have a recovery workout. But I'll do, since I'm in season, I don't do very heavy. I do repetition just to maintain light so I don't injure myself. I still, during the season, for me personally, I'm a muscle head. I like working out, so I'll still try to gain muscle throughout the season, but I won't try to gain too much because that's not what it's for. It's to maintain what you get in the off season. And in the off season, we ended fall ball around, I want to say mid-October. So about a 4.5 month span till the season started. I worked out every single day and I gained 20 pounds. I was 178 and now I'm 201. So, and I went from throwing 78, 79 in fall to 87 to 89 now. So I kind of just jumped dramatically because I stayed dedicated in weight room. I took my time, built my strength up. So, but yeah, so I'm more predicated on explosiveness during the season, I'll the beginning of my week, I'll do my regular workouts. I'll do my upper body. I'll split, Mondays I'll do bis and tris and stuff like that, arms. And then Tuesdays I'll do back and shoulders. And then Wednesdays I'll do legs and core. And then the later half of the week, I'll do more explosiveness stuff, stretching, mobility, running, just to keep my muscles flowing, to keep that flexibility. Because the more you stretch, the more you're going to be able to throw harder, because that's a proven fact is if you stretch out more, I've talked to many college guys too, because I have a lot of friends that are in higher, programs, and they're like, you would think that you wouldn't stretch as much, but we stretch a lot more than you think. I'm like, really? They're like, yes. And that I can't, one guy told me, he's like, one guy can only deadlift 225 pounds, but I see him throw 94 every day just because he stretches and does arm bands and stuff like that. I'm like, okay. So, and that's when I kind of started doing more explosiveness workouts towards the end, right? So I work on my explosiveness in my hips, explosiveness in my shoulders and stuff like that, my back, all that kind of stuff. So, and especially core. Core is a big thing. I like working out core. Even though I don't really got a six pack, I know I got a strong core because it's tight whenever I use it. So I know that for a fact. But other than that, I mean, the biggest thing is eating right too.
I was just about to say about nutrition, Anthony.
Yeah,
that's
a lot
so
of people,
critical as well. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't take that into consideration. You can eat your fast foods, but you need to know how to eat fast food right.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean by that, right? So like say, if I'm on the road and I go get McDonald's, I'll just get their chicken sandwich, nothing on it, just chicken and bread, and that's it. And that's literally there. It's high in calories. It's got a good source of protein, and it's not too fat because it's just a little bit of breaded chicken, and it's still chicken at the end of the day. So, and I don't really eat fast food that much. I mainly cook for myself. I like cooking. I like cooking steak, chicken, fish, eggs. I make my own breakfast every morning. So I eat about 6 eggs every morning. Wake up, eat 6 eggs, and then I'll go, depending on what I got to do that day, I'll go work out or something, or I'll wait till right before practice, go work out, and then just grab something like a bite to eat before practice and before I work out, or just drink a protein shake before I work out and then get a bite to eat after practice or something like that. So,
a couple of things also is getting proper rest, and then also the mental aspect of the game as well. Just talk about that approach, because everybody talks about the physical, component, but just talk about those two areas as well, Anthony.
No, for sure. Sleep is a big thing for me. The last few nights I haven't been able to get good sleep, because I don't know if it's because of like my last bad game and like it's just in the back of my head. So like I'm not even thinking about it anymore, because I tried my hardest. What I told myself that day was, after I got home and everything got settled in, I'm like, once that clock hits midnight, just forget about the game. And obviously, just me being me, I thought about it for like another 10 minutes, but I completely forgot about it. And then our next practice, I was a completely different person. So, but at the end of the day, sleep is a big thing. I like to get at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep, because that's what I feel like refreshes my muscles, my memory, and everything. Yeah. So, also, the big mental side of the game is, they say that baseball is a very, very mental game. But the thing is, you don't want to overthink that, because then if you do, you get in your own head. Yeah. So you don't want to overthink too many things, but you also don't want to underthink too many things. Meaning by that is, like, say you're in the beginning of an inning and you're thinking in the field, you're like, okay, where am I going to go with this ball? That's more so what you want to think, rather than in the moment you're like, oh no. Like, I don't know what to do. So that's where I go, okay, well, I'm going to think what I'm going to do with the ball before I get the ball. And then once I get it, let every single muscle memory take over and adjust to it after the game. Because at the end of the day, a game is for what you worked on during practice. Let everything you worked on during practice take care of itself in the game. Don't try to adjust anything. And then that's what practice is for, is to go back, say, I posted videos on my Twitter. That's where I'll look at my videos. I have videos of me swinging at bad stuff too. Yeah. I'll analyze it. I'll be like, okay, well, what can I work on to, make myself jump ahead to where I can get to that pitch, to where I can hit it for a single or a double or something like that. Yeah. So that's more so what I predicate myself on in the mental aspect is, think about it beforehand, And then once game time comes, let your body do the talking, let your language do the talking, let everything fall in pieces. It's almost, I like to compare it to chess. You know, you play the game mentally, but then at the end of the day, you let the chess pieces work for themselves once you move it.
Mhm.
So,
Excellent point you made is with training videos, and like said that where you can, as you said, you can analyze, you could review what you did right and wrong. I think that's really been a game changer here for a lot of athletes. Can you just talk about being able to again utilize that part as well?
of course. So I tried. So my mom normally comes to the games. My parents come to the games,
Mm-hmm.
and I try. She tries to film every single event that I have,
Mm-hmm.
and I really appreciate that for her. From her to me, because I love my mother so much. Hi. I'm on an interview right now. Sorry. I just let them out too, by the way. So, no, but sorry, that was my boss. So no, but yeah, no. So I like to thank my mom for that, because at the end of the day, I wouldn't have those videos without her. So that's something that I would just like to say right now. I wouldn't be a lot of places without my parents, because before I get into the video stuff, I just want to share. Is it okay if I share like a personal story real quick?
Yeah, sure.
So a couple of weeks back, I ended up getting into a really bad car accident, and I wrecked my first own car. I ended up, falling asleep at the wheel. Don't get me wrong, sleeping while driving is dangerous, and I hope nobody drives tired. I won't even do that anymore, because I could have very well not been talking to you right now, just as easy as I am.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way this accident played out was I ended up running headfirst into a pole, and my engine got pushed back 8 inches into my bay, and my whole bay is only 12 inches. So 4 more inches and so like 2 inches to the left, and I would not be here. Mm-hmm. So I thank God for, taking the wheel and making me be here, coming out without a scratch on me, no injuries whatsoever. So, and those kind of things are what made me appreciate life a little bit more after that. And so that's why I said at the end of the day, I appreciate my mom doing that, because she doesn't have to do that. She doesn't have to, do those things. I like that she does, because then it gives me feedback. It gives me the tools to be able to access what I need to do to jump above my competitors, because there's certain things that, I may catch in my swing during a game, but I need to look back over it. And if I can't look back over it, then I can't fix it. Yeah. So that's where I like to jump ahead of my competitors. Is like, so I'll look back at my film. I'll be like, okay, I'll look back in my film right before I go to take a cut in the cage off the machine or like off soft toss. I'm like, all right, well, what was I doing? And most of the time, I just realize that I'm too tense or something like that. So, perfect example yesterday, right? I was looking at my phone before I took cuts in the cage. So then I was looking. I'm like, all right, well, let me try this. Stood in there. I wouldn't say, I was lazy when I was in the cages, but I was just kind of more laid back. Just let everything flow. And I was hitting everything like I should have. And I was getting to pitches that I normally wouldn't have in a game. But just because I was relaxed and poised in the box made me even better in that situation. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Hey, I wanted to pivot, Anthony, to being a student athlete, and especially I said attending Lorrain County Community College. Can you talk about that, because that's really important? Said to maintain your grades. Just talk about that as well.
No, for sure. So yes, Lorrain County Community College is a great place, in my opinion. Because I did get accepted to a college. I got accepted to Cleveland State University. But except the only downside is they don't have a baseball team. They haven't had one there in almost a decade. Mm-hmm. So because they were a Division I baseball program, but they ended up making budget cuts and getting rid of it. So, but I'm glad that I'm going here, because it gives me another opportunity. Because in high school, I was a good student. I wouldn't say I was the greatest, because I am an engineering major, so you would think I would have to be super smart. But at the end of the day, I have more common smarts than I do book smarts. Mm-hmm. So that's why I kind of sit at a GPA from 2.9 to 3.2, which is that's fine. That's good enough. But I still try my hardest every day. I try to do everything in my power to maximize my efforts in school, whether it be like say, I'm having a rough time in a class. I literally told my mom this the other day, I'm having a rough time in this class. I'm just going to try and work for this grade compared to try and get the highest grade I can. I just want to make sure I get the credits for that class, because at the end of the day, the credits are what matters, because I need those credits to keep moving on. So I, you know, I like school. There's some days I don't like school, obviously, because, not everybody likes school. But, you know, I like my major, in the engineering world. I love it. LC is a great, great, great school. They graduate, their acceptance rate is really high. Their graduation rate is even higher, because everybody there wants to help you succeed. Everybody there wants to see you succeed at LC. They have multiple things for tutors. If athletes are doing bad, there's always options to go and get help. So, and teachers are very, very, very flexible too. As long as you let them know ahead of time what you need to do, they will grant you extensions and stuff like that to work on things, because, they understand life gets in the way. You're in a community college, so life gets in the way of things sometimes. So at the end of the day, school was a big part of me, because I like to get my schoolwork done on time. I like to get my schoolwork done in the first half of the day when I wake up most days too. Just dedicate at least like an hour and a half, 2 hours of schoolwork, on and off. Take a break every like 20 minutes just to give my mental side a break, and just trying to knock stuff out in individual throughout the week. That way I don't have to build it up. You know what I mean? There'll be some days where, life will get in the way and I'll get caught up in things, whether it be baseball related, job related, family related. So I'll make time for when I have time to do it. But then again, I'll have to talk to my teachers and sometimes ask for extensions, because nobody's perfect. Nobody has a perfect life, So yeah. And I feel like, LCCC is a great way, for many people in Ohio, many athletes, I would consider going JUCO either here or other JUCOs around here, because it's a good way to get your grades up. That way you don't have to worry about trying to get your grades up at a 4-year. It gives you another opportunity to refresh, reset, become another name for yourself in another way.
Great. I just have a couple more, Anthony. I wanted to just ask you about attending Avon Lake High School. You played football and baseball there. As you indicated, as two-time, varsity award winner, played baseball for all 4 years, football, freshman year, senior years. Just talk about your time there.
So I played football my freshman year and senior year in high school. So what ended up happening was I played my freshman year. I was set to start on JV my sophomore year of high school for football. And then I ended up quitting because I realized football wasn't for me. I ended up going to Virginia Beach for a tournament, right? For baseball, for summer ball that year. I came back and I told my dad, I'm like, I don't want to play football anymore. There's no reason. There's no reason to. If I want to jump ahead in baseball and I feel like baseball is going to be my future, then I don't want to chance in football, getting injury or anything. So I walked in and talked to my coach, and then, he told me, he's like, it's really hard to see someone leave that has really good work and dedication in the weight room. And that was hard for me to hear, because it was a really nice thing to hear. But at the end of the day, I would not be where I'm at now if I did not quit football, in my opinion. And so I came back to it my senior year because I just wanted to be with my buddies before I graduated, have fun. We went on a playoff run. I ended up coming back and playing, so a lot more than I thought. So at the end of the day, I enjoyed my time playing football, even though it was only 2 years long. But as for baseball, I played all 4 years. I worked my way up the ladder because freshman year, I was good. I was all right. Sophomore year, I started to get better. My junior year, when COVID hit, that's when I made my jump, because that's when I lost all my weight. I went from being 222 pounds to 175 pounds my junior year. And then COVID hit and we didn't have a season. Yeah. So then I came back. Or no, I was weighing like really weighing like 210. But I came back like 210, 215. But I came back my senior year, and my head coach, he looked at me differently, and he's like, did you lose weight? I'm like, yeah, I lost weight and gained some of it back in muscle. He's like, that's awesome. I'm like, yeah. And then I showed up, and I probably had one of the best tryouts, because every player has a tryout, even though seniors most of the time are granted their position on the roster because they've been there all 4 years. I was, he told me, he's like, you had a really good tryout, and you had a really good tryout, and He really liked what he saw. So at the end of the day, that's what earned me my starting position. And then obviously I had the downfall of COVID. Um, we ended up, started playing, ended up getting sick in, the end of February, beginning of March. And our season started right in the second week of March. And this was right before we were set to play at Progressive Field, my home stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. As a kid, that's something I dream about all the time. And, I ended up not being able to play. I got the tickets in my hands the day before I was diagnosed with COVID, had the tickets in my hands and hand it to my family to go watch me play. And just to see that I sat there and looked at them and could not play with my teammates in that event was heartbreaking, because at the end of the day, that's something I always dreamed about, and to share with people that I grew up in high school with, playing with, that would have been cool. And, I ended up still going and supporting my teammates, because I ended up getting on the week that, it was a week-long quarantine period, so I ended up being able to go in front of people and watch that. So, and I have a picture of the scoreboard, and it has my name on there. And I had my girlfriend sitting right next to me, and I told her, what's the crazy thing is, and I was trying to tear up. I was crying the whole time, because it was gut wrenching, because like, as much as I hated, going there and like not being able to go on the field and, actually play on the field, I wanted to support my teammates, like I said, at the end of the day. And I told them, what the crazy part is that may or may not be the last time I see my name up on that scoreboard. And I want to make sure I have that in my phone, because I don't know when it's ever going to be back. I'm not saying it's not a possibility, but I don't know. You never know. So I wanted to take advantage of that moment. And it was hard. It was hard for me to look at that and be like, oh man, this is enjoyable. But I enjoyed every moment of it, because I got to see my team succeed. It was awesome. First play of the game, our starting shortstop at Avon Lake, he went to Tiffin this year. His name's Anthony Arkey, really good baseball player. Love him like a brother to death. Give kudos to him, because he's a really hard worker. He's really dedicated. And he plays at Tiffin University now, and he ended up hitting a triple to start the game. Right to right center, and it was the best, the best thing I've ever seen in my life. Or it was a double, something like that. It was so long ago, I couldn't remember. But yeah, but playing at Avon Lake, the last year, our head coach, Coach Andrew Means, who was assisted by Coach Dave Scott, they changed the culture. Coach Means was a former Avon Lake student. He ended up going to the professionals. He got recruited to go to the NFL draft and the MLB draft. And because he played football at Indiana and he played baseball at Indiana. And so he ended up getting drafted in the MLB I think it was 2009 or something like that, 2008. But he ended up getting drafted, playing in the minor league system, had an injury that held his career back. So he came back to Avon Lake and coached us. And I really appreciate him, because I loved him as a coach. He taught me a lot of things personally. And so did, Coach Scott. They both taught me how to be a better human being at the end of the day. And also how to treat myself on the baseball field, how to act right. There may be some days where, I don't get the things that I want, right? Or not want, but, know that I should be, saying, no, I should be out there, but I'm not necessarily out there to start. Well, it's like, sometimes baseball is a game of staying hot. You play the hot hands. So at the end of the day, that's what they did. When I came back from COVID, that's what they did. My team went on a run after I went out. And I was happy for them. I was ecstatic, because this is a run that I've never seen in my life. They ended up going on a run. I never got to earn my spot back, which is no big deal. At the end of the day, I look back on it, I'm like, sucks that I didn't get to, but I'm glad my team got to succeed still. And that's awesome, because that shows you how good of a coach he was, because he is a great guy. He knows how to work with what he has. He knows how to work with everything, because we had 3 guys go down with COVID when all that happened. We had 3 or 4 of our seniors. That was pretty much our whole varsity team go down with COVID. And so we lost guys. So we had to bring guys up from JV that were youngsters, like sophomores, freshmen, juniors. So it's like, when you're playing those guys in positions where seniors should be playing, sometimes they don't necessarily know what they're doing, or they just get frightened by some things. So, but at the end of the day, he's a really good coach. I love the culture at Avon Lake, because he definitely changed it. He brought something that Avon Lake has been looking for in their baseball program for a long, long, long time. And I feel like that program is just only going to keep going up, because they just got, they got modifications on their field and everything this year, right after I left. So I feel like they're just on a, incline, because they play some of the greatest teams in the state. It's a Division I Ohio state high school baseball program. So at the end of the day, I feel like they're gonna be good, and they have one of the best pitchers in the state of Ohio. That's a youngster who's in the class of 24 on their team as their starting ace, and he's a lefty throwing 88 as a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great kid. As a freshman, he was throwing 87, so he's going to be really good. And yeah, so but at the end of the day, the culture was changed by our head coach. I loved playing at Avon Lake. I love my 4 year at Avon Lake. I would never ever change anything that ever happened in that, because like I said, I would not be the person I am today without that. So I greatly appreciate my time at Avon Lake. I love that school. I will always love that school. I will continue to support that school because now I am an alumnus. So it is only right to support my school.
Yeah, no, it's terrific. Hey, for you, Anthony, what makes the game of baseball so special to play?
Oh man, there's a lot of different reasons. But I would say the two main reasons why baseball is so special. One being that it is a game of failure. It is a game of mistakes. You get multiple opportunities to correct yourself.
Yeah.
Any other sport, you can't do that most times, right? You get constant opportunity. And also, the game of baseball teaches you a lot about life in general. It teaches you a lot about life. Not a lot of people think it does, but it does. In some aspects, being, how to maintain your cool in certain situations, how to be professional. It teaches you the professional side, even though you're not a professional. It teaches you how to act professional, because at the end of the day, if you're trying to get scouted, you don't want to be the guy that's known for blowing up, getting angry at every single thing, getting pissed off, and not getting your offers. So that's more so what it teaches me, and that's why I love it, because I get to come out here every day and say I play this great game because it's and also the dedication that goes into it. The dedication that goes into baseball is a lot. You have to take a lot of time out of your life in order to dedicate to the sport if you really want to make something happen. And that is the greatest part about it, is the process, because the process is awesome. I would not take anything. I even told my mom this. I told her, I'm like, I don't know who I'd be without baseball. I'd be a completely different person, because I predicate my life on baseball. I've done that in my whole life. I've been playing baseball since I was 4 years old. I've predicated my life on baseball ever since I was 4 or 5 years old. I've always wanted to do it for a living, always, forever. That's what I want. And, if I just stay on my path, do the little things that I need to do, stay dedicated, everything else will come on its own. I know that. So.
Hey, Anthony, I think you're in a great spot. Definitely, I think provide a lot of inspiration for younger kids and athletes out there. So what is your advice and message, to those younger people out there who will be watching this?
So for everybody out there watching this and listening to this, I would just say to you, at the end of the day, as a ball player, be yourself. Be yourself. Be the human you're meant to be. There's no other reason why you need to be somebody else. That's also another thing about baseball that's great, is you get to be yourself every single day. Yeah, when you're younger, you like to mock, MLB players saying, oh, I like to do this stance, I like to do that. I even used to do that. And yes, I can say that I predicate my game. I pick things from players, but I don't like to say, oh, I base everything off this guy. Because at the end of the day, the sport of baseball, you are you. And that's what makes you different, is you are one of one. I am the only Anthony Arkey. There's only, one, let's say, for example, professional player. There's only one Alex Bregman. There's only one Frankie Lyon. There's only one Juan Soto. There's only one, of those guys. You can't be them. So be who you are, but pick things from them. And just pick up on little things that they do little hints and stuff like that. And just, like I said, just stay dedicated. That even though it's the hardest part, stay dedicated. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs. Baseball is also as much of a mental game as an emotional game. It plays with your emotions. You go through a lot of hard times, because there may be days that you don't want to do things, but it is the moral right thing to do, that you need to get stuff done. And if you just, and also keep your cool, it may be hard to at a younger age. I get that. So for the younger people, like younger people, I wouldn't worry about that now. When you grow into, your teen years, that's when you start working on your emotions because, obviously you're still going through a lot, but that's when you want to start working on your emotions because if you can start to control your emotions early, it starts to become less of a problem when you're my age. And if you realize that now, also don't compare yourself to people. You just be you. Stay dedicated to the process. You keep going after what you feel is right. Don't compare yourself. Be like, oh, that guy's throwing faster than me. I can't do that. No. Or also don't let anybody tell you can't do something. Go after the challenges. I talk to my friends all the time. They think I'm crazy, but I'd be like, I'm watching MLB with them on TV. I'll be like, I want to face that guy. I think I got a perfect example. One of them was Kenley Jansen from the Los Angeles Dodgers. He was pitching in a game. I'm like, I want to face him. I want to face him one day. I would love to face him. I'm like, you give me 10 at bats against him, I guarantee I get at least 2 hits. They're like, there's no way. I'm like, you can't tell me I can't do anything. So why not go after the challenge? Because if I really want to face that one day, I'm gonna need to sit here and be a realization and be like, well, if I want to face that, then I need to start thinking I can hit it. Because that's the biggest thing also too is manifest things. Tell yourself you're going to do that because that is the biggest power in the mind is you manifest things, the more likely they're going to happen. Like me, I always wanted to go big name schools. But the more and more I got older and the more and more I was actually days ago on my recruiting, I realized I couldn't do that. So I accepted where I was going. I was like, all right, I'm going to make the best of my situation. Junior college, let's get after it. Accept where you're at and work with what you got. And like I said, everything will take care of itself. You just got to trust your process, trust everything you're doing, and nothing should go wrong. And if anything should happen to go wrong, there's always ways to fix those things that have gone wrong.
Well said. Okay. So, Anthony, final segment, the athlete gets the last word. So message to family, friends, classmates, present, former, teammates, prospective colleges, universities, and people watching this. The floor is yours, Anthony.
So I love my family. I love my mother to death. I love my father to death. I love my stepfather. I love my family. I love everything that they do for me. They've done a lot for me that I sometimes don't really recognize, and I appreciate them for that. Also, my girlfriend, I've been with her for 1.5 years. She's been through a lot of emotional ups and downs with me. And I'm glad she stuck with me because I would not be here without her either. And as for my teammates, for all my former teammates, I thank you guys very much because you guys put me into a role that formed me who I am today, as well as my current teammates. I look to help you guys, and you guys help me be on the same page, and we can win. I know we can win. And for any college coaches, listening, I have my schedule on my Twitter, and I would say not just me because I'm not going to steal the show. It's not just me. My team is what makes me me. I love my team. That is the biggest thing is I love my team because my team, if I have a bad game, they help me. They're constantly picking me up. And if my teammates are having a bad game, I do the exact same thing. I do not regret any people I play with because at the end of the day, they have all been great people. They have all made who I am today. I would not be the ball player without anybody in my life that I have come across in my life today without them. And I appreciate them very, very much so for that.
Sounds good. Anthony, just an incredible honor and privilege being able to interview you. Again, keep up the great job, playing baseball and wishing you continued success.
Thank you so much. And I wish you continued success too.
Thank you.